Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Now, let's see. Now, sorry for that wait, looking at a text message. Black workers face two of the most lethal pre-existing conditions for coronavirus: racism and economic inequality. We're all in this together has become a rallying cry during the coronavirus pandemic. While it is true that COVID-19 has affected everyone in some way, the magnitude and nature of the impact has been anything but universal. Evidence to date suggests that Black and Hispanic workers face much more economic and health insecurity from COVID-19 than white workers. Although the current strain of the coronavirus is one that humans have never experienced before, the disparate racial impact of the virus is deeply rooted in historic and ongoing social and economic injustices. Persistent racial disparities in health status, access to health care, wealth, employment, wages, housing, income, and poverty all contribute to greater susceptibility to the virus, both economically and physically. Though Black and brown communities share many of the experiences that make them more susceptible, there are also important differences between these communities that need to be understood in order to effectively combat the adverse economic and health effect of the virus. This report, focused specifically on Black workers, is the first in a series that will explore how racial and economic inequality leave workers of color with few good options for protecting both their health and economic well-being. A companion report highlights conditions for Hispanic workers. The effects of the pandemic on Black workers, economic effects. Devastating job losses are hitting Black workers and their families especially hard. There are three main groups of workers in the COVID-19 economy: those who have lost their jobs and face economic insecurity, those who are classified as essential workers and face health insecurity as a result, and those who are able to continue working from the safety of their homes. Unfortunately, Black workers are less likely to be found in the last group. They have suffered record numbers of job losses over the last 2 months, March 2020 to May 2020, along with the ensuing related economic devastation. They also are disproportionately found among the essential workers in the economy today, continuing to go to their workplaces, risking their health and that of their families because they are unable to sustain adequate social distance from their coworkers and customers. Spiking unemployment rates. The labor market has continued to deteriorate, as evidenced by massive numbers of unemployment insurance claims through the middle of May. And this is from the Shearholtz 2020 report. As of May 16, nearly 1 in 4 workers have applied for unemployment insurance benefits, either in the regular program or through the new pandemic unemployment assistance program, since stay-at-home orders first went into effect. Furthermore, in the first month of job losses, for every 100 workers who were able to file for UI, 37 additional workers tried to apply but could not get through the system to make a claim. Zipperer and Gold 2020, this is reported in. While many of those who initially couldn't get through have likely been able to in subsequent weeks, it is also likely that would be applicants faced ongoing challenges and that the reported number of applicants understates the magnitude of the problem. The latest national data available to assess the impact of job losses for Black and white workers separately is the current population survey for April 2020. The labor market started deteriorating in March but fell off a cliff in April. While the losses have certainly continued, the April data gives us a first look at how black and white workers are faring. Figure 8 shows the employment rates for whites and black workers in February, March, and April of this year. Well, last year. This is an old article. February provides a benchmark for the pre-pandemic economy, as will be described in greater detail later. The black unemployment rate has, even in the tightest of labor markets, been persistently and significantly higher than the white unemployment rate. Both began rising in March and then skyrocketed in April. As of the latest data, the black unemployment rate is 17%, compared with the white unemployment rate of 14%. And while these differences are notable, they mask even greater disparities that are apparent. When we look at unemployment rates by race and gender, white men experience a large but relatively smaller rise in unemployment. Still, the white male unemployment rate is now higher than the highest point the overall unemployment rate reached in the depths of the Great Recession, 10% in October 2009. See the EPI 2020 report. White women experienced the largest increase in unemployment, while black women now have the highest unemployment rate of the four groups analyzed. It should be noted that across race, gender, and ethnicity, Hispanic women actually have the highest unemployment rate as of April 2020. About 1 in 5 Latino workers are unemployed. Further data on Hispanic workers will be provided in a forthcoming report. Wow. And it shows here that all white workers like 14%, all black workers are at 17%. Okay. So it's showing between February, March, and April of last year. Now, so now, basically, you know, this is a good report you should read. It's black workers face 2 of the most lethal pre-existing conditions for coronavirus. It's telling you about the racism as well, but that applies today. But this was also before the coronavirus. Hold on. And black Americans, now black Americans make up 13% of the U.S. population, but account for 22% of the COVID-19 deaths. And basically, in history, blacks have faced unemployment rates twice as whites have. Education as well. And even education. If we look at, now this is the unemployment rates by race and education in 2019. Blacks, overall blacks, as far as unemployment, are at 6% overall, and whites are only at 3%. If you're less than a high school education, blacks are at 15% compared to the whites at 8%. High school, if you're a high school graduate, blacks are 8% unemployed, while whites are only at 4%. Now, some college, you have blacks at 5% and whites at 3%. Bachelor's degree, blacks at 3%, whites at 2%. Advanced degree, it's about the same almost when it comes to unemployment. But overall, blacks are in unemployment, and blacks also face significant pay penalties. Research has shown that these pay gaps have grown since 2000, and in the decades before Gold, which is 2028, Wilson and Rogers 2016, on average, black workers are paid 73 cents on the white dollar. We know from a host of economic research that a person's wages are not a simple function of individual ability. Workers' ability to claim higher wages rests on a host of social, political, and institutional factors outside their control. Because of historic and current privilege in the labor market, white men enjoy exceptionally high wages. Therefore, the gap between white men and black men is particularly stark. Black men are paid only 71 cents on the white male dollar. Black women who face both gender and race discrimination are paid even less, 64 cents on the white male dollar. So, yeah, blacks can't even educate themselves. Average wage of black and white workers by gender, wage percentile. Overall, blacks make about $21, and that's 73%, and whites are at $29. By gender, the black man is at $20, while the white man is at $29 in what they make at their job. Black women are at 19, while white women are at 22. And this is a good read for you guys. Black households have lower incomes and higher rates of poverty than white households, which we all know this. This is why I'm telling you, America to me is nothing but bullshit. That's all it is. So a lot of things, like as far as and see, the global impact of COVID-19, both in lives lost and economic devastation, is likely to leave a lasting mark for years to come. The best path forward includes making sure that we use the painful lessons learned during this crisis to better prepare ourselves for the next one. The disparate racial impact of COVID-19 illustrated in this report should come as no surprise given the ongoing legacy of racism that continues to produce unequal outcomes affecting nearly every aspect of life in the United States. If we are to protect Black Americans from suffering under the same needlessly heavy burden during the next economic or public health crisis that they are suffering under now, we must work diligently to address long-standing underlying racial disparities in economic and health outcomes. I didn't read the whole article because we would have been here for about an hour, maybe two, but I just wanted to break down and summarize to you what it basically says. It doesn't matter what line or what field you're in. If you are white, and I know pink folks are gonna try to spin this and stuff, you can't spin it. These are the facts, and this is the stuff that the pink folk are very scared of addressing. Look at what they've done. They've given the Asians their, and I'm going to keep saying this in my video. If you don't want to hear it, you have the right not to be on my page. But if you want to debate me that Asian Americans are not being hated worse than blacks, I will bring up facts and I will destroy you on the next StreamYard. Anybody who wants to debate that. I do not hate Asians. I do not hate white people. I hate the privilege that Asians and white people get. That's what I hate. You understand what I'm saying? So this basically is just showing you that blacks are continuously each year falling into a deficit. And the majority of us are the ones dying and passing away from all of this COVID and having bad insurance and stuff. And a lot of times it's not even COVID killing blacks. They're just documenting it as COVID so they don't have to do any research or show the toxicology report. I believe that's what you call it. So we got to be careful, and we got to look at what's real, what's not. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you like what you hear, you can donate to the page by Cash Apping me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you for listening, and we're out. Deezy.